Put on your big Hollywood sunglasses and light the torch, because it's Cellar time. Welcome to the crack cellar, as the prophecy was once raped by several tentacles in censored Japanese pornography. I'm Two-Spirit Penguin Daniel.
That'd be a good ranking system. That'd be a solid ranking system.
All right,
How
everyone.
many tentacles? 1 out of 7 tentacles.
We're on the record. 2025 ranking system's already decided. The broadcaster has spoken. I give that 5 tentacles. Dude. 5 tentacles. Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, what would we just have, like, the Berserk Eclipse at the top?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, that wasn't really tentacle porn. Could have been, though. I mean, you just imagine a couple are in there.
Yeah, no. I mean, the deleted scenes for the Eclipse definitely has several tentacles. I would bet my life on it, for sure. So, broadcaster, here today, we are witness to the 12th season of the Aqua Teen Hunger Force. A season that you didn't think actually existed till about a week ago. And wowza, it's quite. And
it almost
season.
doesn't exist, to be honest, because when I looked it up, I was like, 5 episodes. Yep, barely does exist. Yep. Much of a season.
5 10-minute episodes, which amounts to 1 episode of Game of Thrones. So, yeah, not a lot there. 5.
Not even. Like,
well,
a little bit.
There's some
like 45
shorter
minutes with ads. Game of Thrones.
yeah. There's some short Game of Thrones episodes, though, for sure. Not in, like, the final season where it's, like, they're all an hour and a half long, but, like, season 2, season 3, I think there was a couple 50-minute episodes in there.
Yeah.
We start off with Shaketopia, but I want to kind of... Because there's not a lot on the meat. There's not a lot of meat on the bone here with this. I want to kind of just do a retrospective a little bit on Aqua Teen. Because I actually just rewatched the entire series beginning to end, plus the movie, the Phantasm movie. Did you ever watch the movie?
I've watched enough Aqua Teen for about 5 lifetimes, so anything you tell me is not going to really get past me.
The movie was weird. It just had, like, sort of Space Jams vibes. Like, it's kind of... I didn't like it.
Now, if I remember correctly, are you talking about the actual Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie?
Not
with,
the
4th. Okay.
Not the good one. No. Not the good one from our childhood. I'm talking about the new one from 2022. The one that... Because remember, we were going to do the season, then you're like, oh, no, there isn't a new season. There's a movie, and it came out a year ago. And that's what I'm talking about. That.
Never mind then. I retract my statement. I actually haven't watched that. I have no idea what that is.
Not good. It's not very good. We don't have to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it, honestly.
Well, that's surprising. Wow.
It looked like Venture Brothers. It had the animation style of the Venture Brothers. It was not the Aqua Teen Hunger Force animation style at all, and there was no linoleum knife to tie a ribbon on it either. Like, Mastodon really did them a solid when they brought linoleum knife to that first movie. Like, it made the movie in a lot of ways. Yeah. Nothing like that here.
Yeah, we're talking about peak Adult Swim when that movie got funded. The Dream Team was working
for sure.
Adult Swim. I think that was like Ned Hastings and Friends. That's why Ned Hastings was always made fun of, in Aqua Teen Hunger Force. He was the executive producer of, like, I think of, like, almost every single show back then. His name was in the credits,
Yeah.
The fucking how do they get Mastodon, man? That was solid. I think that's probably the best, like, cartoon movie I've ever seen. Not like cartoonism, like Pixar, like cartoon stuff. Like, get rid of all that stuff. I'm talking about, like, edgy, like, adult cartoon, like The Simpsons, Adult Swims. Did Family Guy have a movie?
You mean of, like, the sitcom comedy cartoon shows? Yeah, no, you're right about that for sure. Only one that comes close is South Park. And I would say South Park is probably right there with it. It's South Park and it's fucking the original Aqua Teen movie.
Long ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so long ago from even Aqua Teen's movie, and Aqua Teen was a little while ago too. So
yeah,
that's kind of man. When did the South Park movie come out?
Probably around the same time. I'll bet they came out pretty close to each other.
I was reading about the season on the wiki page, and underneath the music tab, it says the season features a remix version of the original theme song performed by Schoolie D, which, I mean, that makes sense. But then it goes on to say the remix was used instead of the original theme due to budgetary restrictions, according to an interview with Malero, I think that's Malero, and Willis, which just immediately tells me, it makes sense because it's on Max or whatever on Amazon. It's not on Adult Swim. But that's so fucking sad, dude. They don't even own the original song. So
I raised a big eyebrow at that too.
Dude, companies are so fucking scummy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with that?
It's bad too. That remix sucks.
It was all right. I mean,
it was. I thought it was horrible. So, let's talk about this a little bit. So we have the original theme that played the first, I want to say 5 or 6 seasons. Then it goes into every season has its own theme, and it looks like it's going to be a totally new show. But then you get into the show, and it's the same fucking show. It's just they changed the intro to make it look like they had the one with the police force. They had Aqua Teen Show. They had Aqua Teen Forever. Like, there's all these little weird. I think that this remixed one in season 12 is the worst of all of the openings, in my opinion.
I think. Well, I mean, yeah. If you stack it completely with all of the actual intros, I think it goes OG Aqua TV Show. Aqua TV Show's intro is goated. That's smooth jazz master shit. Aqua TV Show. But you can't beat those two. But as far as the rest of them, I mean, they weren't really memorable to me.
No,
I'll probably forget about this remix too, but I mean,
honestly, the one that bugged me the most was Unit Patrol because it was so loud. I mean, you have Aqua Teen TV, or we have Aqua Teen Show, or whatever that one is, and it's super, like you said, jazz, kind of like it's a perfect nighttime vibe when you're going to sleep. It's perfect. Then you have the fucking Unit Patrol, and it's just like screaming at you, Unit Patrol, rah, rah, rah. Like, what the fuck? Come on, man.
If I remember correctly, that was the beginning of their troubles with Adult Swim in the contracts and stuff, because the whole reason they were changing the names of the show every season was to somehow, I don't know, maybe take money away contractually from Adult Swim somehow because it's under a different name. I don't know what exactly, but they were doing some weird lawyering shit, and that's why there was a new name every season. Yeah,
that kind of there was a lot of
there was some pretty bad blood between Aqua Teen creators and Adult Swim and the people that did home movies and pretty much all those old shows. All those shows that kind of came around the same time, like after Robot Chicken showed up and they started making a fuck ton of money, it really put a bad taste in the rest of those fuckers' mouths. And
what's that whole studio, right? William Street or whatever?
I think, that's
they're all William Street shows,
Yeah.
Yeah, Cartoon Network is just like Comedy Central, where they had this gold mine of content and they fucking squandered it, dude. Look at Comedy Central from the early 2000s. They had the fucking Chappelle Show. They had literally one of the most revered comedy shows in the history of man, and it will go down as such. It only went 2 seasons because of the hubris of Comedy Central. And what happened with Cartoon Network, very similar in my opinion, with Aqua Teen, and I think with some of the other shows at Aqua Teen, like you said. I don't think it's just Aqua Teen.
No, I'm pretty sure that whole era of Adult Swim kind of imploded in a bad. None of their stories really ended well with Adult Swim.
Yeah,
that's why that's why you always see no news or continuation or sequels or spiritual successors from any of those shows. I think the only things that pop in my head are now Aqua Teen's kind of slowly coming back. Venture Bros had a little bit of a comeback a year or two ago, I think. and I think Robot Chicken every once in a while comes back from the grave to do something. But other than that, that whole era is just in the grave. It's 6 feet.
It is. It is some
I could be
bullshit.
wrong about one or two more shows that I'm not thinking of, but I'm pretty certain that's pretty much that whole era is done. Invested.
Yeah. Pretty much. And I mean, based on how shitty the movie was, the new Aqua Teen movie, and then kind of how I mean, I don't want to give away our reviews at the end, and we haven't really even started talking about the season, but I don't think it's going to save the show and get it more seasons, but I don't know, maybe I could be wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong, because I want more Aqua Teen, and it's not bad. Part of the problem is how legendary season 2 and season 3 of Aqua Teen Hunger Force is. I mean, even season 1 is pretty legendary too, but like really when you look at the episodes, if you go down the episode lists for seasons 2 and 3, you're just like all of the best episodes of the show are in those 2 seasons just about. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, the first 3 for me are you can't really beat them.
No,
I mean, you can't. I mean, that's for any show though. Look at any goated show out there, any single one,
typically,
and you know, sometimes, and this is my own personal theory. By season 5, all of them climax. Adult, even the live, even series, live sitcom shows like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. By season 5, peaked. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of funny episodes after that, but as far as per season as a whole goes, it's always season 5, dude. Family Guy, season 5 was like the last actual really funny one. If you really go back and look at it. Simpsons,
no, you're right.
I don't know.
You're absolutely right.
Simpsons probably. Simpsons ascends time and space. They have like what 50 seasons now or something. I don't even fucking know what they're on. But
yeah, comedy shows do always start strong and end badly, especially with live action sitcoms. But yeah, I think it extends into the Aqua Teen. I mean, look at Archer, dude. Archer was an amazing show for the first, I want to say 4 seasons, right around 5, exactly what you're talking about. It fell apart big time. Not even, like, you look at how mid a lot of these Aqua Teen seasons are, like season 11 and season 9 of Aqua Teen Hunger Force are pretty mid, pretty shitty. They are legendary compared to what current Archer is. Current Archer is a dumpster fire within a dumpster fire within a dumpster fire. So bad.
Well, there's 2 things going on there. It's too long in the tooth for its own self, and it's in an era where like that type of corporatized, funded comedy cartoons is like nothing's going to be funny. If it's on Adult Swim or Comedy Central and it's corporate, like it's not. The only funny comedy out there right now is stand-up comedy, independent shows like Aqua Teen right now. I don't know if you can call it independent, but it's not on its original channel.
It is kind of independent. Yeah, because this is not a Cartoon Network production. It is a very interesting distinction to make, and it really proves to your point where there's bad blood between them and Cartoon Network, because this ain't on Cartoon Network, and I think we know why.
Dude, I know you kind of said that it wasn't funny, which kind of caught me off, or you don't stack it too well compared to the original seasons, which I wouldn't really, I'm not even going to try to compare it to those seasons, but...
It's unfair. It's just an unfair comparison because it's so legendary early on. But yeah.
But I'm stacking it against like the last 4 seasons, like season 10, especially 9 and 8. I really didn't like. I was really just kind of like sloshing through those, kind of just like, nah, whatever. It's fun. I love the intro of Aqua TV Show, but it's like at the end of the day, they were all kind of just nowhere near as funny anymore. And maybe it's been time, and maybe that's what's healed the wounds or whatever. But this season, the first episode came out swinging hard. I was laughing my ass off at the first episode of season 12.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad season. I'm not fucking giving this a D or something. Like, this is a good season for sure. It's just like not the greatest season, but how could it be? Honestly, like the odds of it being better than season 3 are pretty much 0%. It's interesting though. I liked season 10. Later seasons. I actually really liked season 10. I thought season 11 was okay. For me, it was like season 9, 8, and 7, and maybe even 6 a little bit, where I was just really uninterested, especially there, like in 7 and 8. Like that was the spot where I felt like despair for the show. like, oh God, this is not good.
I think they kind of went through like a rebirth right around then.
Yeah, because I feel like with season 10, it kind of started to get good again. And then season 11 had a couple of really good episodes, like the one with like the storage unit that Carl gets with the Gnome Society.
Yeah.
Like that episode was fucking tight.
I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, but I agree fully that like that those middle late seasons sucked ass, and 12's way better than all of those. But yeah, let's talk Shaketopia. Shaketopia is about the VR headset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of these episodes are very kind of parody-ish, right? You get that vibe?
For sure. I mean, I can't really tell you what the next, because the next episode is the toasters, right? Or all the appliances.
That's like, no, the next one's the A Quiet Shake, the one with the ear aliens.
That one was probably the weakest one.
I agree. I was going to say that too. That's my least favorite of the season.
But it still had a pretty strong episode intro where it was just Meatwad coming out of this chest and he's like, "Yo, dude, did you learn your sign language?" He's like, "Fuck you, dude. Fuck you."
The intro.
The subtitles even showed he was explaining stuff in sign language, even though it was just middle fingers.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. The intro was the best part of that episode. It just really sucked most of the rest of the episode, in my opinion. It just didn't go anywhere. A little derivative. And why are you doing a parody episode of A Quiet Place? Like, that movie is like an okay sort of indie-ish horror movie that, I don't know. Like, what?
You know what it tells me? That this has been written for a long time. Like, they did an episode, they written an episode out.
Yep.
Kind of figured it out, you know.
Good call.
Because it did feel dated a little, like some of the themes for sure.
And you know
like,
what?
They were making fun of VR headsets. And there's no way they were on topic with the Apple headset. There's no way they were that well timed. That was for older VR headsets.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, this I'll bet this season was written right when like the fucking original Quest headsets came out. The Meta Quest headsets, those came out in like 2018-ish, about 5 years ago. I'll bet you anything this was written right around then.
Isn't that when the Half-Life game came out? What is it called? Alex or whatever? Alice?
Yeah, and it's also when A Quiet Place came out too, I think, around there. Close to when A Quiet Place came out.
This is just a straight up delayed season then. So it's on topic like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Quiet Place was like
2019.
3 years ago, wasn't it?
No, maybe 2020. It could have been 2020. Yeah. I know I watched it during the lockdown, so I know that it was around that time. I thought it was old when I watched it, though. I thought I watched it like a year after it came out. So I don't know. Either way, this
I still haven't watched
old.
it.
I mean, dude, it's overrated as fuck. Like, it's a good, decent, okay movie, but people hype that movie up way too much, and it does not deserve the credit it gets. It was original, though. That's the thing, is there's in a world of fucking reboots and rehashes and just fucking non-original content, they at least had an idea that was novel. And I think people latched onto that a little more than they should have.
For sure.
But yeah, Shaketopia was fun. I liked the Frylock ending where he does like the Independence Day computer virus thing.
Yeah, dude.
That was good.
Amazing, dude.
Great ending. That was probably the best ending of any of the episodes in the entire season.
It's also another solid intro too, where it's just fucking he's in his like throne talking shit, and then he just like comes out and he's like, Frylock's like, he's all cracked out in that fucking headset again, dude. It cracked me up, dude. Yeah,
and dude, Master Shake has some epic lines in this episode where like one of his helpers like tells him something like useful dating, and he looks right at him in the eyes and says, "You stopped licking my butt to tell me that?" That was amazing. A lot of classic Shake in this episode.
Oh yeah, dude. There's at one point, I don't think it was that episode, but he tells Meatwad, he's like, "Yeah, you continue with that, the dehydrator's gonna come out and your ass is gonna be jerky." And I fucking died.
Yeah,
they have really good. They've been holding some quips down for these characters for a long time.
Yeah. Like, this is them like releasing a season right after No Nut November, pretty much. Like, they had a build up going. They were ready. Episode 3 is the robot episode. I'm not sure what this episode is parodying exactly or specifically, but it still felt sort of like a parody of something, maybe something that I didn't see or forgot about.
Hold on. we can't pass by episode 1 yet without talking about Meatwad Snipes.
Oh yeah.
Like, that was fucking hilarious. He's like, all you know is bridges and igloos and hot dogs, Wad. And then he's like, does a fucking forbidden jutsu and becomes Wesley Snipes Meatwad. It's like, fucking, that was wild, dude. He even did like a Wesley Snipes fucking accent. It was wild, dude.
They really came out swinging in this episode for sure.
That was good. Anyways,
yeah.
I wanted to give that a strong shout out before we moved on from episode 1.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of talked about episode 2 with the ear aliens. I don't know. Like, do you have any specific thoughts on that one? Like, I really just, the only thing I like, you know what? Let me say one thing positive about this episode. The fucking metal band they created at the end was epic. I loved fucking Carl's.
The rolling credits song was pretty solid. What was it called? Bob's for what? Bob's for
I forget, but it reminded me of early seasons, like the season with
Spirit Journey Anniversary.
Mm-hmm, it reminded me of that shit. It's like classic old school. And you know,
how old are you? 16, 18, 18 bells will chime.
That's what I'm talking about. It had that energy. It's just a shame that like that was only 2 minutes of the episode. I wish there was more of that energy in the rest of the episode. But you know, it had good moments.
Carl was dressed up as like a fucking poor Kiss player, like a cover band player.
It was so epic.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. That probably saved the episode, to be honest.
It did, and yeah. But you know, getting back to the robot episode, I really liked the robot episode. It felt
like my second or third favorite. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not my least favorite. I'd probably put it number 2, but
it's just fucking the way they talked about each other in the beginning, like so condescendingly. They're like, "Wait a minute, who's that guy out there with me?" One, he's like, "That's the Zen blender." I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah,
and he's just out there talking like hipster shit with me. What about fucking black coffee?
Yeah, the robots were awesome. Like they all did impersonations, and the ultimate. I love that the ultimate form was the Christopher Walken Gundam. That was just fucking amazing.
Yeah,
and they ended it with like a fucking Evil Dead Cabin in the Woods ending where they're trying to escape, but he becomes the cabin. That was fucking awesome. All the voices were on point for those robots. Every single one of those robots cracked me the fuck up.
Well, now that I'm thinking about this whole budgetary restriction thing with the music, they actually had some pretty solid voice acting. I don't know if you noticed in like the final episode, the Anubis Pharaoh guy. That was he's a pretty up there actor. Like he's the sergeant in Super Troopers and
Brian Cox. He's a badass. And it's not even just him, dude. They fucking, you know, the show that Mom liked, Millennium. That guy from that. Oh wait, why am I even saying this shit? Fucking Bishop from Aliens, the android. Yeah. Like he does a voice in this shit too.
Isn't it something young? Something young, maybe?
His name is like
Lance Hendricks. Lance Hendricks. And then there's
something like that, yeah.
Then there's the guy from Destiny, Lance Reddick.
Yeah, the guy who died. Yeah, he just died, unfortunately.
Both of them are dead.
But then, like, and those two are actually like the low names on the totem pole. Fucking Danny Trejo was a voice in this too. He plays Dewey. One of Meatwad's fucking guys.
I think he's actually a returning voice actor too.
I think he is.
But
he's really big now. I mean, maybe not. Maybe his star's fading enough now where. But
he's pretty fucking old, dude.
Yeah, but he was pretty. Like, I almost would put him like a little like him and Brian Cox. Honestly, both of those two, I'd be kind of like, I can't believe that you guys did this. I'm glad you did, but I'm surprised you did.
I'm guessing they're homies or something. I don't know why they would come in. That or they're voice actors and I didn't realize it, and they'll just take work if it's right, if the money's right. Maybe I didn't realize that, but
yeah, maybe, I don't know. But the fucking robot episode is at least number 2 for me, maybe number 1. My number 1 would probably be that final episode, because it was so goddamn epic from beginning to end. But let's not skip over the Peloton parody episode. What did you think about that with the Peloton? You know what those are, right? The exercise bikes with the video game on it with the trainer that abuses you or whatever.
Yeah. Remind me about this one again. Which one?
It's a dude that's sort of like Master Shake if he was a human with an afro, and he's a hologram.
The black hologram genie guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and he's like pretty much like pressuring Frylock to be more of a badass, and fucking Frylock kind of just I don't remember exactly. It felt sort of like he was just like, Frylock's like that. He's kind of has that I'm an omnipotent Fry guy, and I have laser beams coming out of my eyes, so I just give up on people. I don't give a fuck. He kind of did that to the robot, and then the robot got like sad and like wrote him a sad letter at the end of the episode. Remember that? Like in Meatwad Reddit forum or something. Something like that. It was a weird episode.
Well, right? Didn't Shake somehow prank Meatwad and Frylock and Carl at the end? Like it was kind of like a prank on them or something. Isn't that what it was?
Well, I think he thought it was a prank. It was like, because it was the whole point.
This is the one where they cover maple syrup to go to outer space or some shit. I forget what it was.
Well, like there's like this. It goes like from being it's a Peloton thing to like the apocalypse is coming and you guys are all powering our spaceship or some shit. And I think Frylock was like, I don't believe you. I'm out. But it ended up being true. Yeah, and then it ends with the meteor hitting, and then I don't know, fucking.
I think I fell asleep to this one and it sucked.
Yeah, this one is probably my least favorite.
The Blue Genie. When you said Peloton, that's what threw me off. I was like, wait a minute, there's a Peloton.
Yeah, this one just wasn't very interesting. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep. Like I was like half asleep for the end of it, but it just wasn't that great. In retrospect, I do think this is probably my least favorite. Because there was no moment in this one that redeemed it like a Quiet Shake, where I didn't like a Quiet Shake, but that metal band at the end was sick.
It was
sick. There's nothing like that in this episode. Like nothing saves it. It's just sort of ho-hum beginning to end. So I'm going to say this one gets the L of the season for me.
Yeah.
All right, episode 5. This fucking episode, dude. It's a pyramid scheme. It's the pyramid scheme episode, but it's all literal. It's the actual... There's an actual pyramid that is the pyramid scheme.
The Omega Pyramid, dude. He's ruling over his... Dude, it's such a fucking corny but fun concept, dude.
Mm-hmm. I love the dry... Like, this has like a sort of dry, literal humor to it that isn't always in Aqua Teen. I really appreciated that. Like it was hilarious when you do like the multi-marketing meetings and Anubis is just there like, hey, want to be my bro? Bring more friends.
I also love like how like the first like 5 minutes of the episode is kind of pressing on the idea that like you need to have friends. There's like a kind of a meta theme to the episode where it's just like, yeah, guys, these people are fucked up individuals and no one likes them.
Yep. Yeah, and I would love to know when this episode was written too, if this was pre-pandemic or during the pandemic, because I feel like there's a whole lot of extra, I miss my friends, I'm going to write stories about friendship stuff going on in the pandemic, where all of a sudden people actually realize, hey, maybe I need friends.
Yeah. And I fucking cringe every time. I know like technically a pandemic, but every time it's just during the pandemic, it's like we survived a fucking thing or something. It's like shut the fuck up. Anyways,
I agree.
But I think you're right. I think you're right. They definitely was written in that time frame, and then kind of like was finalized right on the outskirts of it, and probably got delayed. Because I think when didn't you say this got announced last year?
Well, they like hinted at it, I think, way back in like 2016 or something, or 2017. But then like nothing happened, and then the movie came out, and then the TV show came out. But like there was like I think there was some weird sort of interview that happened with the creator of Aqua Teen where he like did like a wink and a nudge when they asked him about what's going on with Aqua Teen. But nothing official at that point. It was just sort of a weird interview that was vague.
Kind of crazy, man. No matter what the entertainment medium is, like almost everything that was the best of the best is like almost ridiculously disrespected. Like,
of course,
like
that's why most reboots and remakes of today piss on the original version. Other than like some exceptions, like you have Dune being made by Denis Villeneuve that doesn't piss on David Lynch at all. It's not anything to do with David Lynch's version, but he's not like making fun of David Lynch's version either. It's just its own thing. It's its own interpretation. But most remakes are sort of like, they'll like do a wink nudge. Like the female Ghostbusters is a perfect example. The reason that movie bombed is because it literally made fun of the movie that everyone loves, that everyone went to see their movie because of. It's just a dumbass thing that these remakes do. I don't get it.
They destroy. Consume, dude. It's Lavos, bro.
It's Lavos.
The devourer of time, bro. It's gonna fucking let loose, dude.
Oh, man. So much for Chrono Trigger 2. Rip Akira Toriyama. Maybe he went with Anubis to the planet of happiness.
I think it's probably for the best, though.
Probably. Although, quick aside, I'm 7 hours into FF7 Remake Part 2, and it's pretty fucking good. Just throwing that out there. It's a lot better than the first part.
I've been watching Stormy play it a little bit, and I don't know.
The battle system still sucks. It's still not the battle system we want. But
all the side quests are just weird, like low budget, like early 2000s side quests for the most part. Like I remember playing like Star Ocean on the PS2, and a lot of the side quests felt like I was watching Stormy play them. I'm like, I feel like these side quests should be way more for fucking FF7 fucking part 2. Like you shouldn't be doing just weird fetch quests around the city for like no name. Some of them were pretty funny, don't get me wrong. Like some of the like I saw a title on one of the dudes that was giving you a quest. His name was like middle tier manager, Shinra manager or something. It was like an insulting title.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. But you get what I'm saying. Like it's just, I saw the segues, and I brought up the segues last year or 2 years ago, and now I actually saw them in Costa del Rey. And
I haven't got that far yet.
I just saw Stormy, even like I walked into the living room and Stormy was like, they have segues. And I was like, what do you mean they have segues? I was thinking the literal sense. I was like, a segue? Like, and then he's like, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this. And it just, it's literally for a bullshit quest. And like, you just look at me like, they spent time on this. They like spent fucking time on it.
They spent a lot of time on everything in this game. That's one thing that I'll say for it. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but just there is a quality to it that is much higher than Remake Part 1, where Remake Part 1 felt a little janky, a little low budget in certain areas, a little undercooked. This game feels perfectly cooked, perfectly seasoned for what it is, which is not exactly what we want. We want turn-based combat. We don't want open world, but they did a good job. I'm just going to give them credit. They did so far. I'm still really
Is the Golden Saucer going to be in this?
It is, yeah.
One? Okay.
Yeah. I want to speculate that this game ends right when they go to space. I have a feeling it's like right when you get Sid's rocket into space is where it ends, but maybe
that would be a hell of a last part, dude. Fucking Sid just pushes the button.
Well,
baby.
Yeah, and spoiler alert for anyone that's never played FF7 original and doesn't know this. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to pause and to skip ahead a minute
in
or
this
whatever.
World, dude?
Probably not, but if they're out there, you have a warning. I also think it might end right when Aerith gets stabbed by Sephiroth and drops the holy materia. I think that might also be where it ends too.
Yeah, I'll make a gentleman's bet. I'm 100% certain that's not going to happen.
I know they could change it. They might.
It's not a may. They might. It's not a might. Just based on what I saw in the first game, like there's no way like they're bringing. They even like you really get like if you want to go tinfoil hat, like they like showed it to you in the fucking intro of Final Fantasy Part 1 with Aerith having the spirits, the fate spirits whisper. Like anybody who knows. It's like, oh, they're changing a bunch of shit, and they even point out that anybody that has the little fate whisper thingies around them is somehow pivotal in this whole timeline change shit. What happened to Aerith? Oh, I don't know. Guess who's back instead? Oh, Zack. I wonder if Zack plays into all this.
Well, dude, I'll tell you right now, the shit with Zack is confusing, and maybe it's because I never played Zack's game. I forget what it's called. Crisis Core? I never played Crisis Core to this day. I've never played it. I have no idea what happens in it, and that might be why. Yeah, that might be why I'm a little confused, but like the way they start this game, I know who Zack is, obviously. I remember the FF7 storyline. I beat the game 10 fucking times. I know. Yeah, I know
you
Zack.
Know who
I know
the original Zack is.
Yes.
Not the made-up Zack, the continuation, yeah.
Right. Zack is actually Cloud in the flashback, and the soldier that survives is Cloud, the one with the helmet that's following Sephiroth and Cloud around. It's actually I know, I remember all that shit, but the way they're kind of framing Zack, weird in the early part of this game. I think they are up to some weird shenanigans with Zack, and I would be surprised.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been a long time in the making. Crisis Core was a long time ago, so I will give them credit that the ending of Crisis Core was finalized decades ago, and they definitely had this idea of wanting Zack in this main timeline where he would somehow meet up with an adult Cloud, you know? So I'll give him credit to that. But other than that...
Well, one quick... Before we end our FF7 talk, if they don't kill Aerith, how crazy would it be if they killed Tifa instead?
Well, I already killed their tits.
So that's what I'm saying, dude. It's like a sacrifice at the altar. Like, first we took your tits, then we took your life.
I want to talk about this real quick, because this kind of concerned me about Japan, you know, because, like, Japan's never been one to kowtow to, like, this type of shit. And they did minimize her breasts. And that was, like, it just made me think of one thing. It's like, okay, so they are conscious of a Western audience to that degree. But they kept her outfit. And it's like, if you objectively, if you're not a Final Fantasy fan, and you just look at the character Tifa, and you just did a lineup of dudes, and you're just like, you showed them Tifa with bigger tits and Tifa with slightly reduced tits, I don't think it would stand out to them. I think, well, they're like, well, she's still dressed provocatively. She's still dressed kind of like a whore. She has a short black skirt on with stockings and a fucking white shortcut tank top, and she's supposed to be a fighter. Okay, you know, like, so, and then, so it just, these type of things profoundly confuse me. Like, I don't get it. Like, where it's like, yeah, we reduced her tits to, you know, provide a better safe space or whatever the fuck the excuse is. I don't know. But then left her with the whore dress. Whatever. I don't know.
Well, then in the flashback, they censored the cowboy outfit. I don't know if you noticed that, but they like added an extra blouse layer underneath where her cleavage was. So it's kind of like
that's her base. That's her base outfit too. Now she has like the black thing underneath. The white.
I don't understand. Whatever.
Isn't that original though? I'm pretty sure there's some old art where that was pretty much the original design though. It just wasn't as how you say censoring. You know, like.
It didn't come off the same way, no.
Yeah.
No, like, I mean, if you look at what Tifa looked like in the battle system of the original FF7, like, not, like, outside, like, on the map, but, like, in battle, she did not have an extra layer. It was just titty and top.
Yeah.
There was no, like, that's why you kept Tifa on your team. Like, everyone kept Tifa in their party the whole game because of that shit.
I really don't know who they're like. It's really weird too, because you got like Korea just slightly north of Japan, and it's almost like they've inherited their spirit.
They have.
Because you go look at you go look at Korean games, and they're fucking mission accomplished. Roger that. You know, it's like they understand, and like meanwhile, Japan, who invented the fucking idea of Bobs in video games. Okay, they were like they were the wizards that fucking made it up. Okay, and now they're like, well, let's dial it back a little bit. Let's dial it. Those are too big.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's almost like in America when like people stopped wanting to do menial jobs and the Mexicans came in and said, "We'll do that shit." That's kind of what the Koreans are doing to the Japanese right now. They're like, "Oh, you don't want to draw big titty chicks anymore? We'll do that for you. We'll pick that shit up." And God bless Korea for doing that. You're holding the torch for us all. But let's get back to Aqua Teen, which we're pretty much wrapping up on here. We both liked episode 5, Anubis. At the end, they get to the pyramid, and then there's an actual pyramid, and then he fucking...
Every single character in Aqua Teen Hunger Force history has been conned into it.
Yep, they're all there, and they the pyramid guy event horizons Anubis and like turns him inside out, and, like right in front of everyone.
Carl picking up fucking his head. He's like, "Oh fuck, man!"
and then fucking Frylock's like, "This is a cult." He's like, "No, it's not a cult." Okay, dude, I'm out, and he just walks away, but everyone else stays. And then fucking Meatwad and Shake come back like about to die to the house, and fucking my favorite part of the episode, fucking Master Shake just lays on the sofa, falls asleep, and instantly pisses in like a fountain in the air, and it lands right on Meatwad. I love Meatwad's just sitting there taking it. It was amazing. Perfect way to end Aqua Teen. Think about it like this. If Aqua Teen does end here, if that is the final moment of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, how perfect was that ending?
I thought the other ending they had was pretty perfect. Meatwad's family. And fucking, who was that chick that fucking did the song for him? That fucking depressing ass fucking song. Remember? She was like doing, it was like, in Aqua Teen Hunger Force, this is the end. It was fucking depressing, dude.
It was weird. It was a weird ending where it was like, we know this is an ending, so we're sort of doing this sort of weird wrap up the way we want to do it. Whereas season 12 ends in just a pure Aqua Teen moment. Master Shake falling asleep, pissing himself onto Meatwad like that. It's just such an Aqua Teen moment.
I don't know. I'll never forget Meatwad with his fucking toupee on, and he's like telling he's like, "Roll the windows up, kids. Villains everywhere you look." That was a real ending. That
was good. Yep.
Yeah.
So what? Anubis is your favorite episode? You think? What? You go on the record here?
No, episode 1's my favorite.
You go episode 1. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wesley Snipes just fucking that cracked me up.
that
cracked. You just like, because it's, I don't know, if you're like an old school Aqua Teen viewer, like the igloo hot dog formation is legendary, like there's been like multiple lore tidbits of like why he can't do anything else, and like he's tried to do other things and fucking he's hurt himself and shit. And all of a sudden it's like a Rurouni Kenshin moment for me. Like he whipped out fucking what they call that, what was the move you never show anybody? It's actually the technical term for like back in the Bushido days and stuff. Like it's that your master move that no one knows what it is, because anybody that sees it dies because it's that good. I forget what it was. Roni, remember? Like there
was a name for it. I forget what it was.
Yeah, but anyways, I was gonna say that term, but I forgot. That's what it felt like to me. Wesley Snipes was the forbidden jutsu for fucking Meatwad. He's like, I have to do it.
Yeah, Shaketopia was great. Yeah. You know what? You kind of talked me up a little bit on this season. In retrospect, after talking about it a little bit, it's better than I was kind of giving it credit for. There was really only one bad episode.
Yeah, I totally forgot that. It was so boring. I probably because I fell asleep watching it, I forgot about it, but whatever.
Yep. All right, Broadcaster. Well, as you know, here in the Crack Cellar, we have an official, patented 80s slasher rating system. On the system, Broadcaster, what do you rate season 12 of Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Probably give it a Freddy. Freddy's A, right?
No, Freddy's S.
Oh, what's A?
I send you the cheat sheet every time, man.
Do you really?
Glue it to your monitor.
I ain't getting a cheat sheet. What are you talking about?
Well, at least you're forgetting my system. It's when you forget your own system, that's the legendary one. That's happened a few times.
Listen, dude. It comes from the heart. You don't like just things don't freeze in time. You gotta let them go. All right, if you love things, you let them go, and then you forget about them, and then yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's a
Pinhead? All right. Yeah. I'm gonna give this one a Jason. It's like a Jason plus. It's really good, but I don't know, man.
Is that fake Jason from space? Or no?
No, this is like OG, like fucking Friday the 13th Part 2 Jason. Like, this is real Jason. Nothing to do with Olivia Munn.
Was Olivia Munn in a fucking...
Wasn't she in Jason X? Maybe I'm imagining that. Maybe it's a girl who looks like Olivia Munn.
Yeah, no way. Olivia Munn would have been too young.
Well, the girl that I'm thinking of was very young. She's like 19 or something, but maybe it wasn't her.
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, definitely would have been. I think that would have been more like a 16, 15-year-old Olivia Munn at that time.
Yeah, I don't really know how old she is. Yeah, now that you mention it, I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the problem is like, this is a good season, and it's a lot better than a lot of the previous seasons, but I still wouldn't put it anywhere close to the original 3, all of which I would give an S. And then like season 4 and 5 are when you start to get into the A territory, and I still think I'd take 4 or 5 over this season. If I had a gun to my head and say which one's better, I think I would probably take those still. So I gotta give this, relatively speaking, I just gotta give this one a Jason.
I will say on that note, anybody actually listening at this point, that if you are watching things and you are playing things and you are like, wow, this is actually decent, try to refrain from comparing it to those things of yesteryear, because we're in a world now where any little glimmer of light that shines through needs to be bolstered, and then we'll progress from there, because it's almost like we've been stepped back. Like, we can't even have the comedy of yesteryear. We need to build back up to being able to prove to people that, like, you can do that, Well,
that's the thing. Like, if you look at the current state of comedy, most comedy things that exist today that are being made today and released today, I'm giving fucking Michael Myers and I'm giving Chucky's out the wazoo. Like, it's like there's not going to be too many Jasons. So like, I'm not trying to say it's bad, and I'm not trying to downgrade it and tell people not to watch it at all. It's just, it's the state of comedy. Comedy is in a dark age right now. So a Jason Voorhees in an age of Michael Myers is a good thing.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And who knows, maybe this will lead to another season and we can get, keep the trend going. That's what I hope.
It'd be interesting to see a full-fledged season of Aqua Teen at this caliber, because
longer season, because like what the original seasons were all like 10, 12, 15 episodes. So this was a really short season. This was like half of a season, really.
Could be for the best. Like, I'd fucking take 8 or 10. If they could do 8 or 10 episode seasons, I mean, fuck yeah.
They're good, fuck yeah. And on that note, we will close out.
Fuck, dude. Remember Big O?
Do I?
Big O. Showtime. Where's the remake of that, dude? That would have been gangster.
I mean, it's like sort of in like Legend of Dragoon territory, where it's just a little too...
How dare you, dude?
A little too...